Welcome back to the Angle Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Got something really fun for you today. Running a quick auction mock draft. Don't see a ton of these, and I am completely obsessed with auctions. So I don't do any snake. So I'm really excited to go through this today with you guys. We'll see how long it takes. Auctions sometimes can take quite a bit of time depending on nomination length and how quickly people bid, or I guess how much bidding is happening. But yeah, so really excited to get through it today. Just some quick notes on auction, just because I've done a ton of these. In terms of auction strategy, I guess if you're completely new to it, different people will tell you different things. But I've done a ton of auction, and I've always had success being very aggressive, especially early. You want to identify the players that you want, maybe with one or two backup options and get them, right? Period. Nickel and diming over dollar amounts early is not the way, in my opinion. And, the worst thing you can do is just kind of wait too long and be left without, like, quote unquote, a first round type guy. You want to identify one or two guys that you want to build the team around, and then pay almost any price for them. So if that price gets too extreme, yes, you can pivot to a secondary option, but definitely make sure that you're able to secure that player. So I'm going in with this draft. I'm getting Luka, and my second. Let me turn these draft sounds off. Wow. My second pairing with Luka is kind of to be determined, but I might go Luka Jokic. That's kind of the fun part about auction, right? Especially if those guys that get nominated early. A lot of times you see people not want to spend $70 instantly, right? $75 instantly. So being able to do that and being able to pounce on it is something that you want to do. So Jokic is getting bid up here. Let's see, already to $45. I'm going to go for it. I mean, I want Luka and Jokic. I want to have two of the top three best players. So let's see how high Jokic gets here. 73. Usually you can get them around 80, 76. Yeah, I'll go 76. Let's do it. Just how good Jokic is, it's almost like if you're confident in your ability to find, better players late, 78 is interesting. So here's something now where I need to think, am I going to pivot? Am I going to go another dollar on Jokic? Because I want Luka as well. Let's do it. Let's go 78 on Jokic. Just because I think that pairing, obviously, with Luka is just so incredible. Boom, 78 for Jokic, right? So just like that, I've gotten what I consider to be the 1.1. So kind of a downside of being super aggressive early, and we're not even going to engage with this Derek White. Okay, so Steven has bid $153 on Derek White. Unfortunately, in mock drafts, that's something that you might see sometimes is people kind of ruining the draft. We're going to continue to go through this so I can still talk about some of this strategy with you guys, though. So I want to burn my money early, right? Make sure that I have the two players that I want and be able to supplement them with guys that make sense, right? So having that knowledge of, okay, here's who I have, here's who I need to get, is so crucial, especially once you get deeper into the draft. Like I said, worst thing you could do is be too passive. There's a window where if you wait too long, the people left with money will realize, okay, they need to burn that money. And then the prices start going back up, right? So there is that strategy of like, and let me keep an eye on Wemby here. If Wemby's like under $75, I might just have to go for it. Might make too much sense. But there's, that some people like to wait until, what's constituted as deals later in the draft. And I'm going to let Wemby go here. I'm going to go for Doncic with my next one. But some people like to wait for what we would consider to be deals and then build more of a balanced squad. That's not really how I approach things. Like I said, like to get those top two guys. It's not even a stars and scrubs thing. I know you will hear some people call it that, but it's not like I'm dumping all of my money into four guys and then I'm left with a bunch of $1 guys, right? I'm spending $75, $80 on two guys, and then I'm left with, $35, $40 for in a league with 13 roster spots, 11 guys. So it's $3 to $4 on average. So I can get a couple guys that are $6 or $7, maybe one that's $8, right? And I'm left with some $1 or $2 guys after that. Again, I'm going to pass on Durant here because we have bigger aspirations. But yeah, so like I said, it's really tough to do that waiting for deals thing. Sometimes it works out, but you have to be so in on the timing, because if you wait too long, like I said, there's going to be a couple people with a bunch of money and their best player is going to be, well, let's just pick one, for example here, like Jaylen Brown, right? And then you end up, that's how you end up spending $50 on Jaylen Brown, and that's your best player. So not something that I am very interested in doing. Oh, here we go. Here's Luka Doncic. So I'm going to go all the way up to at least $80 on Luka. It's worth it. I think the best players you want to spend the money on, you can't take that money with you. And like I said, I'm just confident in my ability to find those deals later in the draft, especially with LeBron's injury. I'm really liking Luka. Okay, so almost got him for $68. That would have been really nice. Let's see, $70. Nope, 72. So I'm willing to go all the way up to $80 on Luka, just so I can secure that pairing of Luka and Jokic. And there it is. I've got Luka and Jokic. Where else outside of an auction league are you going to get that pairing? Nowhere. So let's talk about a little bit what I have left now, right? In my aggressive, obviously I've gotten two of the best players. Okay. I've got, what is this? $48 left for 13 players. So that's pretty good, right? If you want to go fully stars and scrubs, which is, again, not something I recommend, you still have $38 to bid on a player. We just saw KD go for 40. So that's a pretty solid player. Again, that's not where I'm going to go. I'm probably going to grab a couple, maybe two $10 guys, and then have a couple $2 to $3 guys. And, average of $4.4 is really nice, but it's not nothing, right? So you can fill out a team with that, and just kind of, you want to make sure you pick the right guys to go around them, and you should be golden, right? So what I'm thinking here is, let's see. Let's think of some players, Oh, it's my turn to nominate a player. So at this point now, because I've spent so much money, what I'm going to be doing is exclusively nominating guys that I don't want, that I think people are going to spend a lot of money on. So maybe not like these higher end guys, but like these guys that are a couple tiers down. Let's just do Trey Murphy, for example. And the idea is that because of these not mid-range, but second or maybe third tier guys, nominating them now, it's possible that they get overbid because there's just not a great grasp on the going rate for these guys in the competition. Now, if Trey Murphy's going to go for $15, I'll have to do it, but it looks like he's going to catch up to where exactly where I expected him to be. So let's see, $17. Okay, cool. So at this point, there is going to be a lot of waiting, unfortunately. So that's kind of, I guess, a downside. I mean, the fun part is getting two of the best players. There is going to be a little bit of waiting. So we'll just wait a bit here. And but let's talk a little bit about some guys that I want to pair with Luka and Jokic. Kind of in that $10, $11 range. I need a couple, right? So Peyton Pritchard, he's definitely somebody I'd be looking at. I'm just going to disregard blocks, not necessarily a punt, but with that Luka and Jokic pairing, pretty much good at literally everything outside of blocks. Turnovers might be a concern as well, but I'm not even going to worry about turnovers right now. So Peyton Pritchard is somebody that I like. I like DeAndre Ayton as a big on this team. Really, the way that I would kind of approach this, right, is worry about stats like assists and boards, and then everything else will kind of just fall in afterwards. I think the free throw will fall in afterwards. The field goal percentage will fall in afterwards. And the points, especially with these two main guys that I have here. Everything will kind of just fall into line if I'm targeting assists and rebounds. So DeAndre Ayton, and just looking at some of these average dollar amounts, Darius Garland is somebody that I wouldn't have any trouble with, having a problem with getting. It looks like he's still coming back from that toe injury, so possible to get kind of a deal on him. LeBron is somebody that I'd be really interested to see what he goes for with that injury. So let's go ahead and throw that up there. That's definitely somebody that I'm looking at in kind of this top heavy team. Again, it's not stars and scrubs. I don't want to call it that, but it's possible you get a good deal on LeBron because of that injury and something that could pay off. Let's see who else do I like here. DeMar could fit really nicely with these two guys. Some of these guys, especially got like somebody like Jokic, excuse me, my brain is going too fast. Players that I really like to pair with them are guys that get kind of those out of position assists, right? So DeRozan from the forward slot, having those assists would be really nice. Let's see, where's Hardenstein? Here's Hardenstein. Not a ton of assists from him, but he's definitely a big that I would like to pair with Jokic. I'd also be looking for bigs that their value comes from other places besides blocks, right? And I want to be conscious of that free throw percentage as well. I don't want to nuke it with guys like Jokic and with guys like Doncic, where that free throw is pretty solid to begin with, right? So Julius Randle is somebody that I think is really interesting. Just kind of those guys who can rack up counting stats. Again, turnovers aren't the biggest concern for me right now. Just everybody, I mean, looking at this range here, I'd be really pleased with 2 or 3 of these guys. If you look at what's called this expert rank, and let's just, for the sake of this, say that this is kind of the ranking that you would go in a snake scenario. Getting the 2 of the top best players and then having maybe 2 guys from that 55 to 70 range is really solid, right? So Jordan Poole is somebody that I like. Christian Brown, I love Christian Brown. I think he'd be really nice next to Jokic, especially if he can keep that field goal percentage super high. Simons, I think, is in for a big year. Thompson, really, like, I think on paper, the idea of spending so much money on those first 2 guys can be scary, right? But then coming down and seeing, okay, these are some of the players I can get in addition, right? I'm not just getting like, I'm not filling out my roster with exclusively like Santi Aldama, Keontae George, Dennis Schroeder, guys like that. I am interested in those guys, right? But those aren't going to be my second or third best players. LeBron, so let's take a look here. If LeBron is under maybe $15, definitely somebody I'm looking at. He's only somebody I'm looking at with a perceived injury discount. So if he gets much higher than that, I'm going to have to pass. So let's hold off on LeBron at this point. It looks like he might be going closer to what his normal going rate would be in this draft. So definitely something we're going to keep mind of and hold off on him. Josh Hart. A little bit of name value maybe might boost up Josh Hart, but let's see if people are down on him without Tibbs, and keep an eye on him. Aaron Gordon is somebody I like as well. Alex Sarr is a really interesting one. I know he said we weren't going to think about blocks, but he is going way under than I would like in redrafts right now anyway. So let's keep an eye on him. Lively is somebody that I like from a big perspective. Eason, maybe a little bit of concerned about how much usage he's actually going to get. But yeah, Draymond Green, obviously assists out of the center spot. And then something else I'm looking at is steals as well, right? So Jalen Suggs, who I think is very, very undervalued this year. I don't think Bane is going to affect him as much as some people anticipate. Somebody I'm really looking at. Let's see who else we got here. And then this is going a little bit too high for my liking. Miles Bridges, according to this projection of these dollars in this expert rank, is a little bit too high for my liking. But he's somebody that I am starring him or adding him to this queue. But he's somebody that I'm going to nominate for bidding because I think people might overbid for him. So Kawhi is another one that I want to nominate for bidding. So I'm going to move him to the top of this queue here. And it's a pretty good queue for now. We're going to keep an eye on kind of anybody else who gets nominated. This is kind of where you want to start hunting for some deals, right? So especially like these maybe 4th or 5th tier players, where if they get nominated right now people are like knee deep into focusing on some of these high end players, right? Devin Booker, We just saw Cade Cunningham go earlier, Anthony Edwards. Now people are trying to build out their team. Somebody like Peyton Pritchard, for example, who I'm not going to nominate yet, might kind of fall under the cracks. So timing is so huge in terms of nomination order. You might think, especially if you're new to auction, it doesn't really matter what order they go in, but it's so, so important. So let's see who we have next going here. So Chet Holmgren. So again, they're still kind of looking at those higher end players, but for audio, let's look at some of these draft results and then think about what we paid versus what some of these players went for, right? So we just saw Devin Booker go for 48. That's a pretty solid price, especially with a potential uptick in usage for Booker this year, depending on how much Green takes or I guess replenishes KD's usage. Chet Holmgren, no, I'm going to pass on it. Thought about it for a second there, but he was at $30. Anthony Davis, 57. LeBron, 28. Cade Cunningham, 60. That's pretty high. Steph Curry, 57. Giannis, 63. So the ones I really want to look at, though, is SGA at 76. So that means we got Wemby at 77. That means we got our guys at Jokic and Doncic pretty much at 70, 78, and 74, respectively, kind of at market rate, which is you really can't ask for much more. Like it's basically like you got the two top picks in the draft, and who would not want to do that, right? So in addition to that, we saw Trey Murphy, our nomination, go for 21. Might be a little bit high. Who knows? It was pretty early for him. That might actually end up being a little bit of a steal for Trey Murphy. Now we got Jaylen Brown going. Again, I don't really want to look at these guys like in this 20 plus range. I'm looking at getting a couple $10, $11, $12 type guys to kind of supplement, because obviously I'm not going to have the best depth in the world, but I don't want to hinge it all on three players. So we saw Chet Holmgren go for 31 right there. Would be nice in the correct build. Although I do think that's probably a little bit more of where he should be. I know in dynasty circles, he's very high. He's really not, and I've talked about this in the past, somebody who I think would have trouble building a team around. So, just with his skill set, you look at what he did last year, and it's just not versatile enough to build around. You're really backing yourself rather into a corner with a specific build by having him as one of your top players. So, let's see. Let's look at this draft board to see if we can get some of these pairings here. LaMelo Ball is up now. So this guy, Furkan, has paired KD, Steph Curry, and LeBron. I mean, that's quite fun. Obviously, there's quite a bit of load management concerns there, but I think he got decent deals on all those players, especially if thought about going LaMelo Ball right there. LaMelo Ball just went for $28, but again, I'm gonna keep my myself. I'm gonna hold myself accountable. I'm gonna stay to what I came in to do, and that was to grab a couple guys between the $10 and $15 range. I could have grabbed LaMelo there. But what that would have done is really put myself into that stars and scrubs situation, which I'm trying to avoid. So in addition to that, it looks like just about everybody except for one guy has drafted a player at this point, which is great. That's a good. So if somebody's kind of hoarding money, that is a concern for you if you're looking at some of these $10 to $15 guys, right? So at that point, if somebody is like too reluctant to spend, that is when it becomes a concern for the players in our range, where somebody has way too much money left over and they need to overbid on guys like Pritchard, Julius Randle, Hartenstein, $20 each, because they have to burn this money somewhere. So Karl-Anthony Towns up to $47 now, $48. So this is good. We want to see this money continue to increase. Let's think about who we're going to put up next. Probably not Kawhi. These guys are going to go up anyway, like these Ant Edwards, Trae Young, James Harden, Tyrese Maxey. So like I said, we're kind of just filtering out some of these second through maybe fourth tier players who we are not interested in, with the idea of when somebody nominates the guy that we want, we're able to go in there and pounce on it at what would be considered to be a good deal. So let's think a little bit lower than Bridges here. Let's look at like maybe Paul George could be an interesting one to nominate. Again, not because I want him on my team, but because I want somebody to spend, $13 on Paul George instead of $13 on Darius Garland, right? So Anthony Edwards is going up now, $45. And let's see. So I'm going to go. So I had kind of a loose plan, like I mentioned. It is my turn to nominate. Let's go Miles Bridges to nominate, and we'll just nominate it $2 just for the sake of it. And let's see how much he goes for. We'll have to take 5. So we'll bid it up a little bit, right? If somebody wants to leave him at, $9 or $10, we'll take that, but it seems unlikely. We're going to go $11. That's a little bit low. Okay, so he can have him for 12, but that's kind of in the range that we're thinking in terms of players that we'll draft, especially because this guy is almost out of money. Obviously, the Derek White for $154 thing, not the most realistic, but it kind of puts this guy out of commission with his auto pick. So very nice of him to come in, drop the money on Derek White. I wonder if he's trying to like drive up that average dollar amount for maybe nefarious reasons. Might be a bit dramatic to say, but I don't know, something in his draft where, he could use that to his advantage, I guess I should say. So Trae Young up to $56 now. That's great. We love to see that. I think that would be an overpay, especially with some of these other guys that went. I mean, that went for more than, around what Steph Curry went for. This Ant Edwards one actually turned out to be a really nice pick for this guy, $46, and then Devin Booker for $48. That's really nice, that pairing there. Obviously, I preferred the 2 of the top 3 best players, but not a bad consolation prize here for Edwin. So Harden is going now. And let's think about some other guys I'd want to nominate. Banchero, which, by the way, him having center eligibility is crazy with Orlando pretty much exclusively doing a 3-man center rotation last year. I'm not sure he played any center, but a little bit of advantage here. It's nice for certain builds to have for Paolo to have center eligibility. We'll go ahead and throw him on there. That might be an interesting one if depending on what he goes for, especially with that center eligibility. Like I mentioned, kind of those counting stats or what I'm looking at. Banchero, Julius Randle. Those are always 2 that I like to pair together. And then if you do those 2, you might as well do RJ Barrett, right? Embiid. So this is interesting. If Embiid goes for like $10, I'll just take it. You can't ask for much more upside than that. I'm not going to go higher than that. And it seems like he's going to go for some cash. I believe the latest update is they don't even know when he's going to come back. Let's see. So he's going through 5-on-5 drills. It's unclear when he's going to be hitting the court. So that's not good. And Embiid up to $20 now. Much too rich for my blood. Not worth the headache. I mean, I know in Yahoo leagues, if you have that IL plus injury slot, that that could be he's somebody that you would. I guess there's some additional value there, being able to put him in that IL plus slot with the game time decision. But yeah, just somebody that I'm avoiding. I'd rather spend that $23 on maybe 2 guys who I know will play. Adebayo, in theory, would be a nice pairing with Luka and Jokic, but I'm going to hold off on that. And depending on, okay, cool. So up to $19, $20 now for Bam. And just for audio listeners, Embiid just went for $23 paired with LaMelo, Karl Anthony Towns, and Trae Young. So pretty nice squad here for G2. He's got some high-end guys. He's got a couple late first-round type guys, and then a couple second, LaMelo maybe a second or an early third-round type guy with some of his injury concerns, and then Embiid as well, who is falling maybe in the fourth or fifth round in a lot of redrafts right now. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do on this, excuse me, on this next one is I am going to nominate somebody that I want. And we'll see if we can get a good deal on them. This is also not a bad time to try and there will be like some people who try to get cute and nominate somebody really low end who they think they can steal for $1, but in reality, it's like a waiver wire level type player. So like, let's just take an example of like, let me throw Kamara on my watch list here. This ranking is way too low. This projected dollar is gonna make him probably get nominated pretty late. So that's something I want to keep in mind. But let's do like I'm not gonna nominate him, but somebody might try to like nominate like I don't know, Jeremy Grant or something right now. Be like, oh, I'll just steal him for $1, but in reality, he's probably not the most rosterable guy. So that kind of works in your favor as well of them burning up a roster slot. We've got Kawhi Leonard up now at $15, $16. Again, not somebody I have any interest in drafting. I don't like taking risks most often in fantasy basketball, just period. I'm more of a floor guy as opposed to a ceiling guy. I'll save my ceiling, my I guess ceiling plays for later in the draft. And then, you know, rely on my ability to make those picks to see that increase in value later in the draft. So Kawhi up to $20 now. We're going to hold off on that. Scotty Barnes. So again, still, and I apologize, not a ton of action is happening here on my part, but this is kind of the way that it goes in auction when you spend that money early. Again, like I said at the top, you know, auction is the only format where 25. Okay. Scotty at 26. I'm going to think about it. I mean, that's pretty incredible. Let's just, okay. So a couple guys right there at the Scotty Barnes was down to 2 seconds at $26. I was going to take it. But it seems like these guys have no intention of Scotty letting Scotty go for that early. That's one where I would need to have hopped on the value. 28 still maybe a little bit of an underpay for Scotty, but I am going to save that money elsewhere for later in the draft. But yeah, like I said, auction is really the only format where you are guaranteed to be able to get the players you want. So why not take advantage of that? Like, why are you letting these other managers dictate who you get? It just doesn't make sense to me. And, you know, drafting this way, I find that I'm almost always very excited with the team that I end up with. And it's just about, you know, being aggressive and then being patient and making up that value later in the draft, right? So Kobe White now up to $19, pretty extreme, $20 for Kobe White. So this is great for us because one, we didn't really have a ton of interest in Kobe White, but this seems to be a little bit higher than kind of his going rate if we're taking this Yahoo projected and then average dollar amount at face value up to $22 now on Kobe White. This is great for us. We can look again at some of this. So we have one player that still hasn't bid on anyone. That is not the best, but we should see him start to get some of these guys like Maxey, Mitchell, Jalen Williams, Jalen Johnson, etc. Very soon. Cooper Flagg is kind of a polarizing redraft pick. $21 is a bit too much for me in his rookie year. Have a hard time spending that much on a rookie. And I would rather spend a few bucks on somebody like VJ Edgecombe or Ace Bailey, and try and hope that he outplays his, I guess, value when I draft him. So Ace Bailey is somebody that I want later, right? I want to kind of have some of those dart throws on this top-heavy team. Okay, let's see who gets nominated next. Tyrese Maxey. So still these higher end guys are going. So like this is a good example. Like if I nominated Ace Bailey right now, there's no chance he'd go for $1 or $2. It probably would end up like $4 or $5. But having him in my queue and then waiting long enough to where a lot of people have spent all their money and they're looking for really specific things, there's a much higher likelihood that you're going to get him for that $1 or $2 later in the draft. So that's something to keep in mind there. Maxey went for $40. No problem with that. This guy at the top still has nobody. That's a bit concerning, but let's see what he ends up doing. He was pretty in on Maxey there, but this is just a classic case, I think, of someone who is too passive and too scared to spend the money. This is probably literally the worst thing you can do is how many picks deep are we? Let's see. 30 picks deep and not have a single player, in my opinion. Again, I know some people like to just sit around and wait for deals. That's not how I approach this. And I'm taking the advantage. I know I've said this a couple of times, but taking that advantage of making use of the knowledge that I have going in, knowing I'm going to get those two players just provides me, what I think is an advantage over anyone else, right? And it's much more unlikely that you're going to make quite a drastic decision on someone. So let's just do Josh Hart for, let's put $3 on Josh Hart and then see what he goes for. This again might be a little bit too early. The auto draft put $4, $5 on Josh Hart now, $10. Okay, cool. So that's fine. We're not too worried about that. So he's somebody we were open to grabbing, but it's really not a deal breaker, especially with him going for $18 now on Josh Hart. That's much too rich for us. So I would actually end up calling that a win on our part, that we were able to see Josh Hart go for $20 now. This is a classic case of someone overbidding early. I do expect to see him take a little bit of regression this year without Thibodeau, without playing maybe as many minutes as he did last year. It's possible he comes off the bench. It's a little bit unclear right now what's going to happen, but I think it's unlikely we see him repeat that season last year. So Zubats, somebody again that I'm going to keep an eye on here with this bidding. If it's around, maybe $12, I'll grab him. Anything higher than that, I'm going to wait and be patient with those guys that I had decided on earlier, like Ayton or Draymond Green. So we'll bid 11 on Zubats, 13. We'll think about it. Okay, 13. $14 on Zubats, maybe. Let's see. We'll go 14 on Zubats. Why not? See if he goes for 15. All right, so we'll have him for 15. 14 was kind of the max that I was comfortable with there. Would have been pretty nice to see him on the squad, but again, we have other priorities at hand. Maybe I'll take a Jared Allen for lower than that, if depending on when he gets nominated. Jalen Duren, somebody as well. The idea is that that one could come back to bite us, but Zubats does not have the most versatile skill set, so it's possible that we are able to spend our money more wisely in other areas. So Şengün going now, $27, $28, $29. Şengün goes to 30 now. So if you've never done auction before, I would love to hear your thoughts or maybe any questions you have on kind of my thought process here. I know it kind of goes against conventional wisdom, but it's something that I've had a lot of success doing, and it's something that I would strongly urge you to do if you're trying auction for the first time. I truly do think it's the superior format. It's also the most fair format. I'm just not a fan of Snake. I won't play Snake ever again after doing auction. Auction just really allows you to craft the build that you want in a way that is unlike anything other you would see in Snake. $8 on Duran. So this is what I was talking about with Zubats. Maybe I'll go 10. And if somebody wants to go higher, they can have them. So $11 on Duran is fine. They can have them for $11. $12. So this guy did finally get somebody. He went Şengün. He drafted Şengün for $34. So anybody he gets involved in now, I would maybe expect for him to Durant up to 15 now, by the way, which is a little bit high. Makes that Zubats pick look really good. But Jimmy Butler, I'm actually going to throw on my queue here. He's somebody that would fit well on this team. But this guy who and Paul George is getting bid now. Let's see. Do I want to go $3 on Paul George? $4 on Paul George? We'll go $5 on Paul George, and then if he wants to be higher than that, they can have him. But tough to get that level of upside anywhere else for $5. $8. Okay, so now he's getting bid up a little bit. They can have him at that point. Paul George, not my favorite asset to have because of how annoying he is to own, and I also think he is bad now. So bad combo there. $11 on Paul George. Again, I'm surprised that this guy who drafted Şengün at 34, excuse me, is not being more aggressive on the players he wants. Excuse me. And that he's not starting to fill out his team here because he has the most money. He is able to do the most with it. And you'd think he would be able to identify at this point, okay, I want this player, and this player to go with Şengün, but it seems like he's more comfortable kind of waiting on deals at this point. So, you know what? I just thought of, let's add Drew Holiday to this queue as well. He's going to be the starting point guard for Portland, and he's going a little bit underdrafted for my liking in redraft leagues right now, especially with this. Look at this projected $4, average 2.7. That's somebody I'm going to keep an eye on later in the draft. I think you can probably get him for like $2 or $3 and have it be a really nice piece with Doncic and Jokic. So Mobley is going now up to $33, $35. Okay, let's see who's going next. Amen Thompson. Again, too rich for our blood. We've got no problem with these players getting picked here, though. Again, this is just part of it, right? We spent our money early. We got the best players in the draft. And now we're going to supplement them with some really nice guys. Amen Thompson up to $28 now. That guy with Şengün did grab Mobley at $35. So the problem that I have with his strategy, it's not really paying out for him. He's kind of getting these guys at market value, right? Şengün, Mobley at market value. The idea with waiting that long is that there is going to be this window. There always is. There's going to be a window of guys who are going for under market rate, but it's only for a span of like maybe 10 picks or something where the players left and their projected value is much higher than kind of the money that is available to go around, right? It hasn't happened yet, and he wasn't able to cash in at Mobley, or excuse me, for Mobley and Şengün, and now he's kind of just on par with the rest of us in terms of some of the things that he can do with this money. Austin Reeves is someone that I am interested in grabbing here. So I'm going to go $11 for Reeves. It didn't let me do it. Okay, 11. I would have no problem with like $14 or $15 on Reeves, especially with Doncic on the team and then LeBron missing time. He's almost kind of like that pseudo Doncic handcuff that you should be really comfortable with grabbing. I'm going to go 15 on Reeves and then leave it if anybody goes higher. So I would pass on Reeves or anything higher than that. 17. Okay, up to 18 now. So they can have Reeves 19. So little bit of glimmer of hope that I might be able to grab him, but they can grab Reeves as they continue to bid him up. I'd rather take somebody like Jimmy Butler, who might go for, $14 or $15 and has that really versatile skill set. So $20 on Reeves now, 21, 22. So there is going to be that point, like I mentioned, similar to the point where there's deals. I think I mentioned this a little bit earlier. There's going to be that point where people realize that, oh my God, I have way too much money left, and these players aren't worth that level of cash, right? So then you're going to see guys like Austin Reeves go for, and he went for $22, but they're going to see him go for like $30 because they need those high ground players, and you don't want to spend it on, guys who are worse just because you only have so many roster spots, right? So Jalen Brunson, again, a little bit outside of our price range here, but this is good. We want to see people continue to spend that money, fill out their teams, and then it almost will get to a point where we are in the best position, and it's just a matter of who is left at that point, right? So looking at some of the max offers, we are higher than some of these guys already, right? So that is good. Not that we're going to spend all of the money on one player, but that means that they, I guess, in theory, are around the same average offer as us. And let's see, would you rather have Jokic and Luka, or LaMelo, Trae Young, Karl-Anthony Towns, and Joel Embiid? Maybe you say the second one just based on because we don't have players to kind of backfill that production yet. But at the end of the day, I think you would be much more happy with two of the top players. Or even just one of the top players. Like, I'm not necessarily telling you to, let's keep an eye on Zion here, actually. I'm not telling you to go out and grab the two best players and do the exact same strategy that I have going on here, because it may not work for everyone, right? But just my, I guess, underlying theme is go in and be like, I'm going to get this guy, and then these kind of guys behind him because they fit well, and then go in with that plan and then act on that plan, right? You can't really plan on that in Snake because stuff changes so often. Zion for 15, I'll pass. Stuff changes so quickly in Snake, and there's so little time to react. But as you can see, what we're doing right now is we have so much time to plan on what our next move is going to be, what kind of guys we want to surround these players with. And that's just the advantage of having that level of knowledge earlier in the draft. And then again, like I said, playing or doing that auction format. So Jamal Murray now. I'd probably do 14 on Murray. Let's just go for it. Okay, so he's going to get outbid. Some of these other guys spending money now. Some other players that I like around Luka and Jokic. Let's take a look here. Scroll down. Miles Turner might be fun. Jalen Johnson is interesting. Let's see what he goes for. He could be in that. It's possible that this is the start of that window I was referring to. So let's go up to $12 on Jalen. I'd maybe go up to $20 on Jalen Johnson, with the idea that that is a deal. So let's see, 14. 16. So only one guy bidding against me. That's usually a good sign unless people want to get involved later, but it's also possibly a sign that people aren't the highest on Jalen Johnson in this group. I'm going to go 20. I'll go 23 and then leave it if it's any higher than that. Okay, so they can have Jalen Johnson at that price. Let's see, where's Dyson Daniels on this list? Kind of low, honestly. I would anticipate him being higher. So I'm going to throw Dyson Daniels, especially with this PG, SG, SF flexibility for him. He's somebody that I really like, especially having those assists and steals out of that small forward slot, and then pairing him with Luka and Jokic is going to be so nice. He's just a counting stat guy. I'm not too worried about this free throw percentage. He shot relatively low volume last year, and his turnover rate is not awful. So let's see. I'm going to go, who do I want to nominate? It's my turn. Let's do Let's just do DeMar. And I'm comfortable paying, maybe $9, $10 on, or let's just do 6. Let's see. There are some more exciting guys left. But if we can get DeMar at a decent price, I'm actually going to hold off on DeMar, I think. I don't want to, this money is so, how do I say, scarce for me at this point that I would be okay with DeMar at 10 if some of these other players weren't on the board. But I will let that guy get DeMar at 10, which again is about the going rate. And same thing with Jalen Brunson. He got him about going rate at $35. I'm happy to let him go at going rate for now, and I'll maybe pounce later on a different one. But that was kind of like half. Okay, maybe I'm interested in him, but if I don't get him, it's not the end of the world. Jalen Williams, let's see what happens with him here. People seem to be a little bit slow to bid. Let's just bid $17 to get this money higher. 19 on J-Dub. 20. I'll go similar to what I did for Jalen Johnson. I'll go $23 if it needs to. 21. Ooh, that was close. Okay. So I'm at 23. Let's see if we can grab him. 6. All right. So this other guy now decides he wants to spend his money. He can have Jalen Williams. Now some other people are getting in the fold. Is he going to get J-Dub for $26? Let's see. Nope. Still getting bid up. Ricky here. Looks like he's going to go for his max offer, or one off his max offer for J-Dub. He's got Wemby, Harden, Maxey, and Jalen Williams potentially. Nope, he got outbid. So this guy is still going to get Jalen Williams, the guy that has Şengün, Mobley, Williams, DeRozan, and Brunson. Let's see. Let's take a look at kind of the landscape here. Franz Wagner, I would be okay with like 14 or 15 on him. Oh, he went for 13. Okay. $13 on Wagner. Do I want to spend 14? Do I want to spend 14? Let's do 4. Oh, that was close. Okay, so Wagner at $14 now, 15. This might be a decent deal on Wagner, but I'm going to pass on this. Okay, up to 16 now. So feel a little bit better about that. That's definitely one of those that could come back and look poorly or reflect on you poorly if you went for $15. So that's fine. Happy to let him go for 17 there. With the idea that, and it may not work out this way, if I can get Jimmy Butler, who is a very similar player in terms of skill set, for a few dollars cheaper, because especially later in the draft, those individual, okay, Jimmy Butler's up right now. Perfect. Jimmy Butler later in the draft, or excuse me, what I was going to say, those dollars later in the draft just become super valuable. So let's see what Jimmy goes for here. I'm fine with $13 or $14 on him. It's at 10. Doesn't seem to be a whole lot of interest in him. 10, 3 seconds. Okay, up to 12 now. I should have just jumped straight to 13 because I don't know if I'd go 14. No, I'm gonna let him go for 14 or $13. That's a nice deal, though. It's a nice deal, but I'm gonna let him go at that price. I'm just based on how some of these guys are shaking out here with the amount of money left, I guess, kind of across the landscape. But that's not a bad one. That is not a bad one. That one could look bad. Let's see how it looks later. Giddy up now. Now, if Giddy wants to go for around what Wagner went for, like $18, I would have no problem with that. Let's jump to 14 straight for Giddy. 16, 18. Maybe I'll go $20 on Giddy. 22. No, he can have Giddy for 21. Don't get me wrong. I'm very high on Giddy this year. But again, factoring in this context, I don't want to put all of my money into, the wrong players, obviously, right? There's not a lot of wiggle room with what I've done here. So get up to $25 now, much higher than I would have thought. The guy that just bought Jimmy is looking at Giddy. $25 for Giddy, not bad. It's the same team that bought Booker and Edwards. De'Aaron Fox is an interesting one with the injury. Let's see if maybe we can get a deal on him. $13. I'm going to let it go. And I know, and again, I want to clarify, like, some of these are good deals, but are they the best fit for my team? That's kind of the question. And I don't know if Fox is, or, can I kind of backfill with more depth elsewhere? This is kind of the area now, though, where we're going to see some guys go for some good deals. Miles Turner is somebody that I'm interested in. Just because of those 3-pointers. And if we grab him, maybe we can be competitive in blocks. If he is around that Zubats range, I would be pretty interested in terms of like $15. $11 for Turner. All right, we'll leave it at 13. See if we grab him. So if he goes for $15, I'm going to pass. Not bad. 14. That does kind of take Ricky here out of commission for the most part. And we're not beating him in blocks anyway, right? He's got Wemby and Miles Turner. So not too concerned about that. Denny Avdia is a nice one. He fits really well. If he goes for that Jimmy Butler range, we'll just take it. $10 on Denny. Not a whole lot of action on Denny here. 5 seconds. So there we go. That's my third player, Denny Avdia, $10. That's pretty incredible value, I think I would have to say. Pretty incredible fit with Doncic and Jokic. Not even necessarily my third best player, but I think he can easily outplay that $10 range, that $10 valuation. Let's take a look at Banchero, see what Banchero goes for. If he gets underbid, it's like $10 or $11, I might just go for it. Let's see. Not a whole lot of action on him right now. $12, 14. I'm going to pass. Banchero is not my favorite. And looking at some of these guys that are left here again, Dyson Daniels, Desmond Bane, just these kind of guys who aren't going to hurt you in a lot of spots. I'm really liking and in this range. So, and I'm really feeling good about some of these dollar amounts that are left. Right, this guy's kind of taking out of commission. He's only got $16 left. This guy's got $15 left. Right, so feeling good. This team, I think, will do fine against. We can easily we can easily beat them, I should say, in threes. Blocks he's going to have us in, but we're not too worried about blocks, right? We want to just really pad those counting stats, and the rest will come later, especially with somebody like Denny, who's going to average 1 or a little bit over 1 steal per game. That steals is kind of going to be the main one I'm looking at, because the rest will follow in suit. Banchero up to $28 now, by the way, quite high. And I mean, it's the usual suspects. It's somebody who has way too much money. This guy has $137 left. He only has Kawhi, Chet Holmgren, and Paul George. So I think it's safe to say that this guy has ruined his team pretty instantly. The Banchero and Chet Holmgren pairing is disgusting in a bad way. It's really bad. And I think this guy is going to be a non-factor in this hypothetical league. There just aren't enough impact players left to make up for what he has done to, I guess, ruin this team already. So let's see who gets nominated next. And see, I've got $38. I've still got around a $4 average offer. That's pretty good, right? The idea is that I get a few guys. Maybe I get a couple $5 or $6 guys here, maybe one $8 or $9 level guy. And then I have enough to where I can get maybe 3 $2 level players. Let's do 14 on Siakam is fine. He's going to go up more than that. He's up to $15 now. Do I go 16? 17 on Siakam is still a steal with this team. Okay. I was so close to doing it there, but they can have them. I think it's $17. But what was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. But let's move on to see who goes up next. We're really in the meat of the draft now. These are where some of these deals are going to start coming in. I know I said that a few minutes ago, but this is really the time. Brandon Miller at $5. So potential steal here. We're going to go $8 on Miller. I'll go $10 on Miller and then leave it. Feel good about that one too. If I grab him though, $12. So that makes me feel really good about my Denny Avdia pick because I easily prefer Denny to Miller in redraft leagues this year. And yeah, I just feel great about that. So Miller for 12 is a good deal, but it's fine. He can have him. Oh, $13 from this guy. He wants to burn all of his money on Brandon Miller. What I think he needs to do is maybe get another block source so he has that locked down. His rebounds are not going to be where you need them to be. $16 on Miller now. This is making our Denny pick look exceptional. So feeling really good about that. Let's see. Jaren Jackson. So we're not going to be very competitive in blocks, but if they don't want to bid him up, then we'll have to. I'll take $11 on Jaren. Okay. All right. 12 is fine. $13 on Jaren. Then I got bigger fish to fry. 14. Okay, so now I feel less bad about this. It's my turn to nominate. Let's do, okay, so I'm going to nominate somebody that I think now, so now I'm back in the range where I'm going to nominate somebody that I want them to spend money on. And then when the guys that I want to get, that I want to pick get nominated, that's when I'm going to pounce. So I don't want Laurie. So I'm just going to nominate him $5. Let me speed up some of this bidding. Now, if you let him go for $7, okay. $8 on Laurie. Yeah, this is fine. I don't need this. So I like that this money. So every dollar here is a plus for us, especially this guy who Laurie's up to $12 now. Wow. Every dollar that gets added to market in here is a plus for us and works in our favor. Cool. So that worked out pretty well. Again, easily rather have Denny Avdia over Laurie. So that's a win there. Again, I only know I have 3 players, but the team will start filling up very quickly here. It happens kind of in succession, so you've got to be ready and ready to strike. Let's see who gets nominated next here. Dyson Daniels. So here we go. Let's see what he goes for. I'll pay $14, $15 just because I want those steals. It's up to 13 now. I'll go 15 if it goes one more, but if not, okay, 15. I'm going to leave it there. Boy, I'm tempted to go 17. Let's do it. Let's go 17. A little bit nervous about the amount of steals left, so I'm going to go ahead and grab 7. Oh boy, $18. Ooh, okay, I got to use some self-restraint here. And you can go for 18, 19. Okay, I feel a little bit better about that now. And hopefully we can make up some of that. Oh, wow. I turn away for 1 second and Dyson Daniels up to $24. This might be turning into a situation with these guys realizing they have so much money left and want to spend it on potentially the best player available. That's quite high, especially for where some of these other players were going. So, okay, feel a little bit better about that now. And let's see who gets nominated next. Ja. Not my favorite pairing with these guys, but I will bid $8. and I will pass on him after that. Vooch, I am really nervous about this year in redraft leagues. I think he overperformed. And yeah, so if somebody wants to get Vooch, that's fine. So I'm going to put him on my queue for nomination, not to draft. And this range where a lot of our picks are going to come in succession is going to be coming very shortly. We're now looking at this like 65 to 70 range. And that's where we're going to make a lot of our noise. Jarrett Allen, he's somebody I mentioned earlier. If he goes around that $9 or $10 mark, I'm going to take him. $8 on Jarrett. 10. I'm going to leave it at 10. He's somebody that would be really nice. Doesn't really hurt you anywhere. Nice pairing with Jokic and Doncic. Let's see. All right, cool. Jarrett Allen for $10. Feel pretty good about that. Nice to have a rock solid big there. Keep that field goal percentage up. We're not the strongest in field goal, but Jarrett does not hurt you in the ways that maybe some of these other bigs do, right? Shooting 74 from the line. Let's take a look at how much money I have left. So I got a max of $20 is my max offer left. So what I'm going to be looking at now is I'm going to take a couple guys in that $5, $6, $7 range, maybe 3 or 4 of them. And then that's going to leave me with, $1 or $2, a few $1 or $2 guys. So if I take maybe 3 guys at $5 or $6, well, let's take a look. If they don't want to take Bane up to 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, Bane is getting out of hand very quickly here. The only thing that I would feel weary about is if DeAndre Ayton ends up going for less than Jarrett Allen did. But it's fine. Had to pounce on it when it was there. If you end up waiting for example, if you say, oh, I want DeAndre Ayton, not Jarrett Allen, it's very possible that, other people want Jarrett Allen and you just get outbid and you miss your window there on them. I'm going to pass on KP Porzingis on this team. But yeah, so if I take, so we got 4 players, there's 13, or excuse me, I need 10 players left. So if I take 3 $5 for $6 players, what is that? $15, $5, $13 with about 7 left. So that's a little bit over 2 per. So that's good. That means I can get one more $3 or $4 player after that. And then no harm in getting a couple $1 players to round out your squad, especially if you've been if you've got, and players will fall through the cracks, right? In auction leagues, because of how it's structured, they're always immediately post-draft is some decent guys on waivers, just based on the way that it goes. And especially people, like I said earlier, people try to get cute with some of these later picks, hoping that nobody outbids them. And what that does is leaves a few guys. Okay, Pritchard at $11, $12. Wow, 12. Wow. Okay, well, good thing I grabbed Allen. Like I was saying, what that does is allow for plenty of solid $1 players at the end, or on waivers at the end. So $16 on Pritchard is too much. Very happy with some of my other picks based on where or what Pritchard just went for. So I am going to nominate Vooch after this. And now, similar, I mean, at this point, everybody who's spending money is good for us, right? But looking at some of these, the guys who have money left, let's see. There's one guy that can bid 60. This guy can bid 47, but we're not too concerned about him. Keegan Murray for $4 or whatever, that's fine. 25. So we're not too concerned about a lot of these guys. A lot of these guys
not that we're going to, but might be hesitant to spend some. They're either going to spend it all on one player or might be hesitant to spend it on the players they need. So this guy right here, Edwin, has now backed himself into a corner where he might not even be able to spend all of this money. Let's look at his team real quick. DeAndre Ayton up to $10 now. But like the amount of money he has left outweighs probably these players, unless he just grabs literally like these next few guys. Ayton up to $12, so that makes me feel good about Jared Allen. $14 now on Ayton. So that worked out pretty good with Ayton going for $14. See who gets nominated now. Curious to see what Vucevic goes for if Ayton just went for 14. Well, here we go. We don't have to wait too long. Vooch is up. Now, don't get me wrong. I would bid, $6 or $7 on Vooch if they want to let him go there, but it does not seem like there is any intention of letting him go for cheap. The amount of quality centers is slowly dwindling. Right, we're about to jump into that next tier that I would not be comfortable with as like my second best center. So Vooch up to $15 now, 16. Wow. And these guys are just going back and forth on Vooch. $19. It's exactly what I said. This guy's going to have to spend more money than he wanted to on some of these players. $20 from the top rope. Kubele. Edwin, $21 on Vooch. He knows he needs a center. It's a two-center league. That just worked out very well for us, and we know he's going to need another center too. So that's something that we're going to factor in on our next nomination is hopefully get somebody to spend some money on a center that we don't want, like Klingon, who would not fit the best on kind of what we're building here. So that Jared Allen at $10 is looking really nice. Darius Garland now is up and being bid on. $7 on Garland. That was kind of the max that I was comfortable with just because I don't want to ruin my depth later. So Garland at 9. Brandon Ingram. I have no interest in Brandon Ingram. It's my turn to nominate next. So let's get a center ready to go. And I am feeling really good about our positioning. Let's just do. Not liking Mark Williams the most in Phoenix this year. So let's go Mark Williams. He's also somebody that wouldn't fit great on our team. So let's see how much these guys want to grab him, pay for. There's some guys who still need a second center. I got a bid on Vooch just getting involved. Oh, wow, $10 on Mark Williams now. So this is exactly what we wanted. Well, this is just working out so nicely for us. $12 on Mark Williams. $13. Wow. That worked out pretty well. $13 to the guy that needed a center. Remember a second ago when he had all this money, he spent a lot of it. He's got, let's see, six players. He needs 7 left, and he's got $34. So he's honestly in a very similar spot to us. We're going to pass on Vassell. I think $6 is an overpay. So that's one of those where the timing is huge. Where if he waited longer on him, or if he got nominated later, probably will get a better price on him than what he's going for right now. $8 on Devin Vassell. This guy has too much money. He's got to burn it. Wow, incredible. Zach LaVine is up next. That's not a bad fit. I'll take $6 on LaVine. Okay. Anything higher than that, that's fine. You can have them.
A little bit of a bidding war going on for LaVine. Let's start thinking about what we're going to do next. I mean, at this point, this is kind of where we're. So I've gotten a few guys here that I think would fit really well on the team, especially some ones that are going to go later in the draft. My thought process is you're kind of just basically waiting for them to get nominated now. That window of deals has passed in terms of the higher end players. We're down like into the 60s and such. So if you have a lot of money right now, it's not a great spot to be in. You're paying $15, $16, $17 on Zach LaVine because you need high end talent. But the idea is that we are going to try and delay these players' nomination for as long as possible. And that's factoring in a few things. It's factoring in where we are in terms of our I guess, league context, how much money we have in comparison to everyone else, right? Cam Thomas for 5. So, we want these guys to fill up their team with players that we do not want, right? So that's something we're going to keep in mind. Cam Thomas, I'm going to pass on Cam Thomas on this team. I'm a little bit weary on Nets players in redraft this year, especially because I don't know if you're going to be able to count on them when you need them. Obviously, you got to get to the finals first, but I would like to have players that are going to be on the court at that point. And I don't know if Cam Thomas is one of those players. Cam Thomas up to $10 now, by the way, quite high. This guy is spending as much money as he can. He has got 7 players. He needs 6 more. And there's really not a ton of guys left that are worth that kind of, they're worth that cash, right? But I just think he could have managed that a little bit better. What's also important to that is that if you do it this way, you have to pair just, you got to have the best pairings possible. And I don't think that is what he has done here. So Walker Kessler, I would assume he's going to go for quite a bit of cash based on how much some of the other players have gone for. I would be very concerned about a Walker Kessler trade. I think if a team trades for him, he's going to be stuck in some kind of 24-24 split. It remains to be seen if how much Nurkic is going to play on this Utah team. They added a second to Colin Sexton for Nurkic for some reason. So I would assume that they would like to play him. Kessler at $10 now. That's not bad. I think I prefer my Jared Allen pick because of 1, he's not going to hurt you in free throw the same way that Kessler will, and then 2, we weren't going to be competitive in blocks. Anyway, OG Anunoby at $5. He's not my favorite pick, I think, for this team. $8 is too rich for me, and he's just not the best pick fit with who I have. I'm looking for some guys with assists at this point, and like I said, to have the rest of that fall in behind. OG up to, $12. Yeah. 15. Julius Randle, this is one I'm going to keep an eye on. Let's do $6. You can have him for $7. I've got other guys that I would be more than happy with at that price. The center eligibility is going to be really crucial for these guys here too, with the double center league. Some of these guys, this guy with Victor and Miles Turner bidding on Julius Randle is a really bad fit, I think. Up to $11 now. Much too rich for me at this point. Yeah. So we are fine with that. And we're actually, I think, in a better position than these guys who had that money left, right? So now, what we want to try and do is the faster these guys burn their money, the better position we're going to be in. And we want to hope that these guys, like I said, last as long as possible. Let's see who goes next. Because these guys are just bidding up. And when I say these guys, I mean the ones with still quite a bit of money. And we're actually in that camp now, right? We're up towards the top of cash, but it seems like they're burning it on literally every player that comes up. Quickly, I am going to pass on at $5. That probably is a good price. Oh, he's up to $7 now. I'm going to pass on him at that price, but that's an okay deal. I don't mind that, especially if you need his skill set. I'm thinking bigger, though. I know I keep saying that. I'm thinking different, I guess. Sorry, Thompson. Let's do 5. $6. So this guy can this will be the last guy this guy's able to bid on $7. Okay, so we're good on Asar Thompson for $7, I think. Little bit too one-dimensional, and that free throw is concerning. Could be some value in Hero with the injury, but with my depth situation, I probably don't have the luxury of drafting injured players. So we're going to let Hero go here for whatever he ends up going for. And let's hope that one of these guys with some of this money left bids on him. $7 on Hero. Waiting on the next nomination. Alex Sarr. No, obviously I considered him a little bit earlier, but I'm going to pass on it for now based on me grabbing Jared Allen earlier, and it's possible that Sarr gets a little bit bid up here, but not the best fit. We want to keep that field goal pretty competitive, and we aren't going to be competitive in blocks anyway. I will bid on Jordan Poole. Let's say $4 on Poole. Let's go 6 on Poole, and then I'll leave it. You can have them for higher than that. Just in case you missed it, some of the last few picks, Alex Sarr went for $6. Hero went for $8. Asar Thompson, 7, quickly 7. So at this point in the draft, some of the kind of the projected dollar amounts and your plan for what you were going to spend on some players, specific players, might have to go out of the window. Let's nominate another center. It's our turn to nominate. Let's do Jakob Poeltl. And let's just go $3. But it's very dependent on the league context at this point, right? It's who needs what, who has that money, and who's willing to spend that money to get that player. Jakob Poeltl is up to $5 now, which is a decent price, but he's not somebody that I need. That free throw is really bad. I've gotten 2 centers. I'm comfortable with some of these centers that are behind him to fill in that gap, especially guys like Lively, Kongwu, maybe even Nick Claxton, although he's not my favorite, and get some value later because there isn't going to be that much money to go around. And I should be able to get them for a couple of dollars if I need to. Draymond Green is another one. Christian Brown. I'm going to throw $5 on Brown. Big fan of Brown this year. I think he takes another step forward. I think we see the assists start to tick up. That field goal might tick down a little bit, but they're going to ask him to shoot more three-pointers. And I think that's worthy of a trade-off there. And then I think the assist can get up to 3.5 or 4 just based on the lack of secondary ball handlers they have outside of Jokic and Murray. So Christian Brown for $5 secured him. Very happy with that. I've got 5 players now. I've got Luka, Christian Brown, Danny, Jokic, and Jarrett Allen. The team is starting to shape out. And I've got, let's see, 8. I got $23 and 8 slots to fill, so I can still get a couple more guys at $3 or $4 each, maybe even $4 very comfortably. And I've got this queue here. Drew Holiday, I've got my eye on. Nemhard, Simons, Lively, Easton, etc. Suggs. I mean, some of these guys are going to go for that amount, and it's going to be huge for us. Let's get Norm Powell on there too, because I like him. At least on this team. I was nervous about him before he got moved to Miami, but in Miami, they're going to need some scoring. Excuse me. And I think Norm is going to do a great job at that. So Cam Johnson is up now, going for $4. This makes me feel really good about my Christian Brown pick. If Cameron Johnson goes for 4, I mean, anything higher than that too would be an overpay. But get up $6, $7 on Cameron. So like, this is what I'm saying. Like, being able to pounce when the time is right on the players you want allows you to get that high end. Is the only way that this strategy works. Nemhard is next. Do I go $5 on Nemhard? Let's do. Yeah, I'll go $5 on Nemhard. I could use it. Okay, 6 on Nemhard is fine. You can have that. I've got my eyes on Suggs, Drew Holiday, Schroeder, Simons shortly here. So $6 for Nemhard, that's fine. Somebody else is closer to being done. Hartenstein, I'll bid $5 on Hartenstein, $6 on Hartenstein now. So I got outbid instantly. Do I want to go 7? 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 I'll pass. That's a good deal on Hartenstein, though. $6. That's pretty good. Michael Porter, I'm going to pass on him. So these guys are going much quicker now. I am going to because I passed on Hartenstein, I am going to make sure that I get Draymond Green for whatever he goes for with those out of position assists, and it should help with some rebounds as well. Gobert is also not a bad idea, depending on what he goes for. That could be a nice value pick there. So Michael Porter up to $7 now. Not bad. $7 for Michael Porter. I didn't get him. And I'm glad that he got bid up that much, especially with the amount of money that's left. Let's take a look. I mean, I know that I have the second most money available, and the 2 guys around me only have 1 more player than I do. So I think we're in a pretty decent spot here to fill out the rest of our team with this, with these value guys left. These are still some top 100 guys here. Let's do $3 on Gobert. Oh, dang. I was hoping to get it for $3 or $4. Do I want to do it for 5? Let's do it for 5. Instantly outbid. $6 on Gobert. That's fine. You can have him. I'm actually curious to see if Clean goes for something reasonable now. Might have to grab him. I know I said earlier I didn't want him, but John Collins is somebody that would fit pretty well on this team. Matherin, I'm going to hold off on. Lively too is somebody that I'd be pretty interested in grabbing. $5 on Mather now. It's too much. Too much. Brown is going to finish higher. Jalen Green. Some instant action on Jalen Green. $4 on Jalen Green now. 5. Let's look at some of these recent picks. All right, let's take a look at, some of these teams while what are these projections? That's because I don't have enough players yet. Draft board. Yes, so some of these guys have just about filled out their teams. Really, and I know I keep saying this, but the auction it requires a lot of focus. And as you can see, they take quite long sometimes. But I think they're a blast, and I think it can really pay off, and really you can craft just such a fun team, and very rarely, especially if you go out and get the players you want, you're going to leave an auction draft being like, oh man, I blew that, right? If you're aggressive, you're not going to, it's unlikely you're going to feel that way. Whereas you can easily leave a snake draft feeling that way. You can easily leave, let's do $2. Oh, that was close. I don't want to do $4 on Norm. You can easily leave an auction draft if you're super passive with, man, I messed that up. I blew that. I didn't get enough good players early. I just that's something to keep in mind, and just another reason to kind of pursue that aggressive strategy. So I'm going to continue to bid players that I don't want. It is my turn to nominate. Like I said, the faster that these guys get bid on, the better for me. Let's do Shaden Sharp, or the more these guys get bid on, I should say, the better it is for me, because I've got some specific targets here coming up. $5 on Sharp now. I'm good. You can have them. $6 on Sharp. Simons or somebody's going to have to get nominated here pretty soon. Suggs, Kamara, who is hidden. I mean, he's hidden way down here. That's something you can probably take advantage of. Tobias Harris, be pretty interested in. I'll bid $2 on Ware. Why not? RJ Barrett is somebody I'm interested in. Reed Shepard could be a nice flyer pick. Khalil Ware is up to $4 now. I'm going to pass on Khalil Ware, I think. A little bit concerned about some of those comments that Spoelstra has had about him, and just doesn't do enough in some of the areas that I want to grab him. I have some other guys that I have my eyes on that I might need this cash for. So let's do John Collins, $3. You can have him. $4 on John Collins. That's fine. Got no problem with that. I think we have the biggest max offer remaining, which is good. Most of these guys can only do $2 or $3. Wow, we are in a really nice spot here. So we can get any of these $4 players that we want. Draymond Green. Let's do $4 on Dre. Do we just let him get Dre for $5? I mean, I guess. Might as well let him burn that money. Yeah, you can have him. I mean, that was my plan, but I mean, I'm pivoting a little bit, right? So Simons is up. I do want Simons. $4 on Simons. Nobody else can outbid me unless, like, the thing is, like, if this guy doesn't want him or this guy doesn't want him, like, I get him for $4. Like, it's that easy.
And there you go. Simons for $4. That worked out pretty well. I think Simons is going to be in store for a huge year. And he's really going to help us. He's going to help this team. He's going to hit with some of those threes that we need, scoring punch, some of this assists. I know that the field goal isn't the best, but the free throw should be there. I think he's just a great accenting piece on this team. So Bradley Beal went for $4. I'd rather have Simons. Suggs is somebody we are going to draft depending on, I guess, when he gets nominated. Eason, Lively, Drew Holiday, Naz Reid is here, Kongwu. Wow. So how many spots do I have left? 4, 6. I've got 7 spots left. You can have Klingon. You can burn the rest of your money on Klingon. That's fine. Like I said, we're not too worried about the blocks, and we have options to pivot to in Lively, Okongwu, and Naz Reid. Jalen Suggs, we'll do $3 on Suggs. And I feel pretty good about our chances here to secure him. Oh, $4 on Suggs. Can I pivot? Is it worth it? Let's go 5. Not many players with that level of steal upside left. Can't take the money with you, so I'm going to go Suggs. I'll take him. Would have been nice to get him for $3, but not complaining with Suggs at 5 as well. So okay, so what we need to do now is probably backfill some rebounds. I want to make sure that I get some assists, and like I said, the rest of this is just going to kind of fall behind. Not points I feel pretty good about, so we definitely can get a little bit more points late, but Derek Lively, $4 on Lively. Don't mind if I do. We'll take that field goal percentage in those boards. Nice. Grab that. And I am going to take Naz Reid when he comes up next. I'm literally just doing whatever I want now, right? Based on how much money is left. I'll easily take Lively over Okongwu at that $4 price range. Okongwu is about to go for $4. So pretty happy with that. I still got Ace Bailey here as a flyer. Reed Shepard is on my list as a flyer. Naz Reid, when he comes up, I'm going to get him. Kamara, Tari Eason. Let's see. Yeah, Zach Edey, I've got no interest in drafting. Looks like he's going to go for $2, which is fine. Let's see if anybody can outbid me. There's one guy that can bid 6. I can also bid 6. Oh, there's Nas. I'll bid 3. Can anybody go 4? There's a couple people that can go 4, but do they want to is the question. And there we go. $3 on Naz Reid. That turned out pretty well. Let's bid. Let's just do Kevin Porter. I'd be fine with him at 1, but I kind of want somebody else to bid on him. Yeah, there we go. Instantly $2 on KPJ. Ryan Rollins is somebody you need to have on your watch list in redraft leagues this year. It's very possible he outplays Kevin Porter. I'm not saying to draft him, but he's somebody you really need to keep your eye on. And I'd be really weary about drafting Kevin Porter at kind of his range inside where he seems to be going around 100. So that's something I would be really nervous about. Obviously, in an auction draft like this, $3 is probably fine as a flyer, but he's just not my favorite, and I don't even know if he has the starting point guard job locked down. So we'll see what happens with him. But
Definitely need some forwards on this squad now, looking at it, right? I've got 4 centers, so I'm good there. But guys like Kamara, Eason, Tobias Harris, RJ Barrett, I'm definitely locked in on. Brooke Lopez, I'm going to pass on. I don't even know if he's rosterable. I mean, he's probably rosterable, but this is just one of those cases I mentioned of somebody only having $1 left and having to maybe get someone that they normally wouldn't draft because they want to be able to grab someone. So we're fine with that. So I'm locked in. I mean, I'm almost guaranteed these players, right? If nobody else bids on them, this guy can do a max offer of 6. McCollum, yeah, no interest in CJ. And the sooner that this guy, G2, and then this guy, Furkan, fill up those last few spots on their team, if it's not players we want, we're golden. We are golden. Do I want to burn $2 on Reed? Yeah, we need the upside. Let's do $2 on Reed. And that could pay off. So obviously I'm going to take a couple upside swings like that. Ace Bailey might be another one. I've got 3 spots left. I am going to grab Eason, probably Kamara, and then I might grab Ace Bailey as well. Obviously pending on if somebody bids on them or not. But I've got 3 spots and $5, right? So I can bid $2 on any of those guys, or if I need to go $3 on Eason, I will, because he's kind of my main priority right now. Although I guess Kamara's not bad either. We'll see what happens. Bobby Portis, no thank you. Actually, let's go Kamara over Eason, I think, for the we'll feel it out. We'll see. Somebody might just bid a bunch on one of them and not even be relevant anymore. So let's wait for that to happen first. I might hold off on Barrett just because I think that free throw percentage is not going to be great. It might be too harmful for somebody at the back end of the draft here. I think the idea of Barrett is nice, but actually having him on your team is a little bit more annoying than you would have liked. So let's see. Everybody, this guy had max offer $5. This guy's done $6. So there we go. So that helps. $3 in Jabari Smith. I need this guy to bid on. Ooh, do I want to go 3? All right, well, that answered my question for me. That guy spent the rest of his money on Eason. So that means we're going to go for Kamara. But we want to be careful, because if this guy wants Kamara, he's going to get him, right? Eason went for $3. Jaden McDaniels now up for auction. Jaden Ivey, I'm going to pass on. Sorry, McDaniels went for $3. Everybody's kind of going for $2 or $3 here. It's really just a matter of now it's almost turned into a snake draft, right? So Kamara, and I grabbed him for $3. That's why you saw it end that quickly. Nobody else could outbid me. So grabbed Kamara for $3. That means we have a couple $1 slots to fill. I think the best way to do this at this point is just to pick the players that we want and hope that no one outbids us, because and let's do that first with Ace Bailey. And the idea is that if you if you go too low and nobody else bids on them, you're stuck with someone that you didn't want on your team, right? So you have to make you already I should say have a move you need to make when you're in the season. Okay, so more upside there for Ace Bailey. So that's nice. Let's take a look at this team. What do we want to do with this last pick? I did like Holiday earlier. Harris. Do I have too many guards? Let's see. Luca. Oh, well, never mind. Holiday just went for $2, so I'm not gonna be able to get him anyway. I think do I need another forward? Let's see. Do I need another small forward or something? Brown, Kamara, Denny, Bailey. Probably need a little bit more rebounds. Probably just looking at it here, just to feel a little bit more comfortable. So let's look at the rebounds. Let's see who's still available. And let's sort by rebounds. Claxton, who's going now. Nemes Keda could be a nice budget grab, upside play. Not the worst idea. Gafford is not bad. Do kind of like Gafford there. I want to grab upside here. Jay Huff going next. I want to grab upside here. Not my favorite options available. Ooh. Keyshawn George. Hiding down there. Mr. Do-It-All. He's everywhere on the floor. I don't care about the field goal percentage. The steals and the blocks are absurd. Again, I know that we're not super focused on blocks, but he's probably got more upside than anybody else I've got left in this queue. He even was getting some assists at certain points last year. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to grab Keyshawn George. He's got that small forward upside, or excuse me, eligibility. And it also, I have it to where, if I need to drop somebody like Ace Bailey, I can. Yeah, let's see if I end up grabbing him. If I do, I'm gonna be very excited about it. And I would be very happy with my team here. Herb Jones, though. Let's think. Herb Jones, Keyshawn George. I guess Herb Jones is the safer pick. That's Keontae George just went for $2. Herb is the safer pick, but Keyshawn George is more fun. Let's think. Well, I guess we got to wait till it's our turn anyway. So let's see who goes next here. Schroeder. Okay, so that answers that for me. I did say I wanted the boards. No, I'm going to go Keyshawn over Herb if he makes it. That answered my question. Herb Jones for $1. Let's see what this next guy goes. Hopefully I can secure Keyshawn for $1. The reason these picks aren't instant, I think there's one guy that can bid. Okay, yeah, this guy can outbid anybody for who he wants. So if this guy, there's no reason for me not to put Keyshawn, because if this guy's going to get Keyshawn, he would have gotten him he's going to get him anyway. So D'Angelo Russell looks like it's going to go for $1. So this guy definitely has some players in mind that he wants. And there we go. Keyshawn. 20 seconds. And this is just an upside play, right? If I find that Keyshawn is too harmful to my build, he's not doing enough, or he's tanking, one of my percentages, you can drop, right? I got him with $1. I got him with my last pick. So there's not really any stakes there. It's not super crucial. So that's going to be my team. That's going to do it. Let's look at the final results here. Okay, so obviously went Luka and Jokic, super big early on, $78 and $74 respectively. And then obviously I had the big task of filling in with the depth where it mattered. I went Jared Allen and Denny Avdia both for $10 as kind of my third and fourth best players. Got Christian Brown, Jalen Suggs both at $5. Then I went Simons at 4. I got a nice splash of threes there. Derek Lively at 4. Nice value, especially in comparison to what some of these other centers went for. And then at $3, I've got Naz Reid, Tumani Kamara, some nice assists from Kamara. And then Naz Reid also providing some big man stats as well as a scoring punch and some threes. And then I've got some big upside plays in Reed Shepard, Ace Bailey, and Keyshawn George. Reed Shepard and Keyshawn could be ready to take a big leap forward. And if I do, the $2 or the $1 I spent is going to pay off big time. And then I've got Ace Bailey, who, if he breaks out, awesome. If he sucks and is hurting me, I can just drop, right? That's fully a ceiling play, right? So when I'm talking about I'm more of a floor guy than a ceiling guy, I'm taking floor safe picks earlier in the draft. And then at the tail end, I'm taking these sky high upside players. And that's just kind of conventional draft wisdom. But that allows me to know, one, I'm going to have a super productive team. I'm going to have a good team. I'm going to be competitive. One, because I have arguably the two most productive. I mean, Wemby's up there, right? But arguably the two most productive players you can find. And then I've got some guys who complement them really well, like I talked about doing. And yeah, I think, obviously I'm biased, but I think I smashed this and I think I killed it. My dog is getting restless. If you made it through this whole thing, thank you. I know this was quite a long one, but really love auction drafts. Really excited. I really want more people to play auction. I think it's the best format. Hopefully you learn something. Hopefully you're able to take some of this away and apply it to any of your drafts this year. And yeah, if you made it to the end, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like supporting us, we have a Patreon that's in the description. We upload bonus content on there all the time. Just today, we uploaded a series called Player of the Month, where we focus in on one player every month. It was Jonathan Kuminga for this month. We also do articles on there, more frequent dynasty rank updates. So these are not early access. They are more rank updates in between our kind of standard schedule. So all the stuff that's been free is going to stay free. But yeah, thank you so much to everyone who's supported on there so far. Check us out on our socials in the description. And thank you guys so much for watching. Good luck on your drafts, and we will talk to you next time. Thanks.